All right, protein. We all know we need protein, right? But where should we get that protein from? How much should we be consuming? Like, there's so many different questions surrounding protein. And it's understandable because there's a lot of misinformation out there about it, but we're going to dive into that topic today. So strap in and get ready for episode 104. Let's go.
I've always been that skinny guy.
Why can't I gain muscle mass?
What do I do in the gym?
They said I'd always be skinny.
This is your complete source for how to gain lean muscle and break out of your skinny body. From nutrition to getting the most out of your workouts and everything in between. We know just how frustrating gaining muscle mass can be, but don't worry, we've got you covered. You're listening to the Bones to Bulk podcast. Hey, welcome to today's show. My name is Brian Parody, and I will be your host today. And we're talking protein today and what we can do maybe differently than what we've done. Maybe kind of disperse some false information out there regarding protein. But before we dive into that, if you have not been to bonestobulk.com, head on over there. We have so much content on there. I've tried to provide as much as possible on there, from all the podcast episodes to my blog, which includes an entire recipe collection. And on the homepage, you'll see free training. And what it is it's like a less than 15-minute video where I sit down with you and share the 3 things that I wish someone had told me when I started, because it would have saved me so much grief and so much wasted time. So head on over to bonestobulk.com and check that out. All right, let's dive in. So when I started off with fitness, I thought that all I had to do was buy some protein from Walmart and drink a bunch of it and lift, and I'd sprout muscles. And I couldn't have been more wrong. I think typically when we think of, building muscle and protein, we immediately go to the tubs of protein. And don't get me wrong, protein powder is important regardless of how you get it, whether it's from whey or soy or pea or whatever type of protein source you're getting it from. It is important. It's helpful to get some added in. It's fast acting, so it has its place, absolutely. But we can rely on it too much and not get enough of our protein from natural sources, because the majority of our protein should be coming from natural sources. And those natural sources, what I'm talking about is our food. Really evaluate, what is my nutrition intake like? Am I getting a good amount of protein, healthy, good protein? I'm not talking about down in 7 protein bars in a day, because most of those are crap anyway. I'm talking about getting your protein from sources like chicken or turkey, eggs, black beans, chickpeas, hummus. Shoot, I even found this soybean pasta. It's like spaghetti, but it's made out of soybean. 24 grams of protein per serving. And yeah, it's a little different than spaghetti, but it's not bad. I've gotten used to the flavor, so you can mix some in with your spaghetti or just eat all of it that way. Another great way to get some protein in. So there's a lot of really good protein sources out there. Tree nuts, they have a lot of healthy fats in them, and that's their primary source of calories, but they also contain a decent amount of protein as well. So there's a lot of different ways to be getting your protein in, and I highly recommend that you're mostly getting it from natural sources. Now, should every bit of your protein come from natural sources? No. I do protein powder typically twice a day. I do a post-workout shake, which usually has 2 scoops in it. And then before bed, I do another scoop, because it's really important to have protein on hand when you go to sleep, because that initial period of sleep is when our bodies do the most building. And I know that typically we should be taking casein before bed, but casein isn't fast acting enough. It's okay to take a blend that maybe has whey and casein in it, but don't just take casein, because by the time it's released, that initial phase where your body does the most repair is already over. So don't miss out on that. Take your whey protein before bed. Now, I'm not even going to get into really the million different protein powders out there. Just stay away from the protein powders you can pick up at grocery stores or superstores, because they're usually pretty crappy. They have a lot of fillers in them. You want something that's pretty clean, that doesn't have a lot of added fillers, doesn't have a lot of added sugar or anything like that. Personally, I use My Protein. I think they have incredible products, and what's more, they're extremely affordable. Way more affordable than most stuff you buy in stores. So if you're interested in using their stuff, you can go to bonestobulk.com, click on the gear page, and then at the bottom of that page is
supplements that I recommend. And you can find links to the different things I use. So how much protein should you be consuming? Well, it's going to vary a lot from person to person and depending on what your goals are, how much you weigh and all that. But kind of a good rule of thumb that I like to go by is 1.2 to 1.6 grams per pound of body weight. So for example, if you weigh 150 pounds, you'd be consuming 180 to 240 grams a day. Now that may sound like a lot, but when you break that down, 180 grams is only 720 calories. Personally, like I'm consuming 3,000 calories a day. So 720 calories, that's not even a third of my daily intake coming from protein. So it may sound like a lot, but it's really not. Now on the high spectrum of that, the 1.6, that would equate to 960 calories a day coming from protein. So definitely manageable. And again, this is for someone who's looking to gain mass, to gain muscle, to gain weight. Now let's take someone who's maybe 250 and is trying to lose weight. We wouldn't want to load up on that much protein because at the high end of that spectrum, 1.6 grams per pound, if you weigh 250, that's going to equate to 1,600 calories a day from protein. And that's going to be way too high. So you have to adjust for what your goals are. This isn't a one size fits all, like the gold standard 1.2 to 1.6. But if you are on the skinnier side and trying to gain muscle and mass, this is a pretty good rule of thumb that you want to stick to. For other goals, you may need to adjust and you're probably going to lower down to about 0.8 to 1 gram per pound if you're on that side of the spectrum. So I hope this clears up maybe some confusion you've had with protein, how much protein to get. Like, don't get me wrong, protein's important, but it's not like all of your calories should come from protein. There's lots of other good calories out there from good, healthy, complex carbohydrates, from healthy fat. So don't miss these other things and don't undervalue protein coming from good natural sources as well. Don't simply rely on protein powders. They have their place, but again, they are a supplement, which means they are added in to a healthy, nutritious meal plan. With that being said, remember, no matter what anybody has told you, what walls you're facing, what things are trying to knock you down, you can accomplish any fitness goal you set your mind to. You've got this.